Hi everyone. How to create a winning portfolio? The single biggest lesson I have learned and that has helped me create money in the markets is to invest in secular business themes and to invest in sunrise business sectors, not to invest in sunset business sectors. The reason is the sunrise business sectors and the secular consumer trends or business trends are the places where the money hides behind. Now, the traditional value investing believed in even investing in sunset industries, which are trading at extremely cheap valuations, and they come back to somewhat cheap valuations. People sell and benefit out of that double or triple quickly they make. But I believe the best way to make money is to have a winning portfolio, wherein at least certain percentage of your stocks should belong to the hyper growth sunrise sectors. Now, these sectors, these stocks might not have great metrics like the margins and all of that, but these are moonshot ideas. You need to have at least 20% in such kind of moonshot ideas because they can help you compound at a faster rate. Now, what do I mean? Here is a practical example, right? I've taken 5 such sunrise sectors or the future trend sectors, trend setting sectors, where you could look at investing, pick around 5 stocks and create a portfolio out of this practically, and then make some percentage of allocation in that. I'll tell you how much percentage in the end, so stay till the end. Here are 5 such sunrise sectors. Practically, I'm explaining you how to create a portfolio and how much percentage to allocate to such kind of moonshot ideas, right, in your portfolio, so that your portfolio remains a winning portfolio and not deplete off or get obliterated, right? So here are 5 such ideas, right? I just picked randomly. One is transportation industry. We all know the electric vehicles is a disruptive force that is depleting of the internal combustion engine vehicle space. We know any industry trends that is coming up new, you will have a set of new players who will come and monopolize that sector, right? For example, EV space, you are hearing names not like the General Motors and Ford and all of that. You're hearing names that you never heard of, like the Teslas, like the Xpeng, like the Lodestar, like the Rivian. These are names you wouldn't have heard about in the electric or in the automobile space. Now, so this is one such disruptive force, a future trend, or it's already playing out, which you can believe because addressable market is so big for the next 10 years, right? Second such idea is advertising. Advertising is shifting from, we all know the newspaper industry is dead. That's a sunset industry I'm talking about. You should not invest in the traditional medias like the newspaper, the cable TV channels and the media broadcasting houses and all of that. Rather, you should look at the futuristic trends like the digital media space, programmatic advertising, or the connected TV advertising, or the social media to some extent. I would classify social media also into the traditional media space because that is dying industry due to regulatory issues. But I would say the futuristics are more like the connected TV space, right? So picks up advertising. The whole advertising is moving on to such kind of digital channels like YouTubes and all of that, and digital channels and programmatic spaces and the connected TV spaces, etc. So you need to find stock ideas from that. Now, third such idea is digital banking. Now, digital banking, we all know, we have seen the traditional banks being disrupted in many countries, including emerging nations, especially where it's currency denominated countries. You see that the digital payments have have almost not started, I would say almost halfway trenched into displacing the currency markets like India, China, Brazil, etc. And we see this even in developed nations. Europe is one of the classic example with so many digital banks leading the way. Now, you can pick payments, you can pick P2P lending, you can pick insurance, you can pick lending, any business out there which are into the digital financial space that is disrupting the traditional banks, right? Including scoring. Now, that's one other idea. Now, the fourth one is vaccines. For example, mRNA vaccines. We know there is huge demand for the vaccines, especially with the amount of the pandemics that we are seeing, even in cancer treatments, therapeutics, etc. The mRNA vaccines are much on demand, especially the treatments are much on demand, right? We can see a new era of cancer treatments in the future from many such companies, especially in the mRNA space. Then we have the digital commerce, which we all have ordered through digital commerce. social commerce, whatever you want to call it as. So that is one such trend. That is an example, right? Now, how do we pick stocks? We know that these are great industries, these are futuristic industries, and there are many. I'm not covering all here, but how do we pick stocks in these kind of these kind of trends, right? The idea is to go behind the leaders in each of these spaces, whether they are a leader in a regional space, whether they are a leader globally, doesn't matter. Pick leaders, right? And pick leaders of, what I mean by leaders is the companies which are pioneers in the industry or which are biggest in that industry, and also led by visionary founders with the skin in the game. Such kind of people, if you back, it's a good idea. You will not lose your shot. When there are the thing is, there are many such companies that comes into action when such kind of new trends come, because it's capitalism, nature of capitalism. Many players try to get that market share, but if you back really the visionary leader out there, you will not get hurt much, right? Chances are less. Now, if you pick 5 or 6 such trends, you're not just taking one idea and backing all in, right? So you can just pick 5 or 6 and allocate certain percentage, right? An example of such kind of a portfolio here is, you have EV industry. I pick Tesla because Tesla is the leader, or I would pick an Xpeng, which is a leader in China, right? So such kind of leaders you can back in. You can put, for example, advertising shift. You can pick a trade desk, which is one of the leaders in the programmatic advertising space, is doing well. Third is like digital banking. I would pick Adyen, which is a leader in its making. It already overtook Stripe and Square in the payment space, and with different models of businesses, but still on the transaction volume. And the fourth example is mRNA vaccines. We all know Moderna, how it came from a small micro firm into becoming a pretty much good size now, but it's a leader in its space. Digital commerce, we all know, for example, I'm taking for a difference, for a change, like in Latin American market, it's a regional leader. Mercado Libre is been making its waves, and it's continuing to grow, right? And so the other thing is, they all have a lot of optional advantages. They can keep growing across in adjunct services, like for example, Mercado Libre going into payment space. So it is a proxy play also into the digital banking or digital payments, if you see in the Latin American space, right, markets. So they could have multiple future trends. In certain companies will have multiple future trends playing out. So look at ideas like this. For example, Amazon is a leader in digital commerce, right, e-commerce, but they also know is a leader in cloud business. They could have the optionality to grow into adjacent spaces. So it might be a good idea to look at the leaders who has because they get capital, they get backing from funds, they continue to grow, they continue to be backed by ventures. So that's the idea, if you back the leaders in those spaces. Now, how much percentage of your portfolio should you create in such kind of future trend setting, moonshot ideas, I would call it? Roughly 20 to 30% based on your risk appetite. I would have at least 40-50% of my portfolio in such kind of stocks, but at least 20-25% wouldn't hurt. It's a good idea to have look at the chart. 20% in hyper growth moonshot ideas. You can have 20% in value, Graham type value investing. It doesn't hurt. Again, what is big deal? You can just get a doubler in couple of years. You find an extremely cheap stock in a sunset stock idea, sunset sector, like energy, for example. It was so cheap in 2020, right? And when it was so cheap, you could have backed 1 or 2 companies in that sector, but that's a sunset sector, right? It is eventually going to die. But if you had backed at the cheapest times when oil was so cheap, you would have benefited with the doubling, tripling of money in the last 2 years. We saw what happened, right? So it doesn't hurt to have 20%. I'm not saying completely stay away, but have very less investment stake in such kind of ideas, because you need to be good in timing. That's a problem. Now, remaining 60% of your portfolio can be in secular compounders. These are mature companies which are time tested, which have been there for 10, 20, 30 years, and has great margins, has great profiles and all of that. They're well tested, they compound at steadily 15-20%. It's a good idea to have 60% of your allocation to such kind of companies. So this kind of a portfolio will help you to compound faster. If you have 100% of companies only like the Warren Buffett styles, the steady compounds like a Costco, like a Berkshire Hathaway kind of companies, you will only compound at little above S&P, like maybe 15%, 12%, right? So the outperformance is created by having at least some 20-30% of your portfolio in such kind of hyper growth exponential stories. So that's all I had to cover in this video. Trust this was helpful. Thanks for staying with me. Signing off, Sandeep Anand.